Hey everyone, welcome to Branding 101 here. And our special guest tonight is Kailyn Bennett. She's a remarkable young woman, and she is our project manager for not only bringing this to all of the entrepreneurs, but also updating our training site and such. And so I'm very excited to have her with us. She took a mom and pop hat business and made it a household name through Instagram and social media. So I am very tickled that she is going to help us bring our businesses to the forefront as well. Before we get started though, I hope everyone will grab an oil before we get going. I'm using clarity tonight because I wanted to have clarity and thought as we go through this. Kailyn went through this with me today and I was totally inspired. It's a 30-minute presentation, but I think it's going to get you thinking and really get you more intentional about your business. So get that oil on your back of your neck, on your temples, on your forehead, or even just breathe it in because we want to do some great work tonight and get our businesses rolling. As you all know, we want to build our calendars out for the year, and this fourth quarter is our mega quarter. Today is October, and we want to make that fourth quarter really pay off. So we want to put some hustle into this month and roll with that. So from here, I want to turn it over to Miss Kailyn Bennett.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me and being so excited about this and really having an open mind. I've been just feeling so much gratitude coming into to teach this, mainly because there are so many people that are so anxious for this learning. And I love that so many people showed up to this and that there were so many comments. So we're just gonna get right rolling into the training. So I'm gonna share my screen with you. And I built out a PowerPoint for you guys because I always think that that is the best way to do anything. I'm like a part visual learner, part discussion learner. So I wanted to make this as easy as possible. Can everyone see it? Are we good to go? Just give me some thumbs up. Word. Okay. So I made this presentation for you all. It's called Branding 101. It's how to define, refine, and implement your personal brand strategy. And as we're getting going, I want to really point out the personal brand strategy. You know, the thing that makes a good brand, especially when you're branding yourself, is yourself. So we're looking at ways to bring out the things that you already have that are important about who you are to make people relate to it. So it's going to be like if I were doing this presentation for a brand, a conglomerate, something like that, we would be doing totally different strategies, but your biggest asset is you. So that's what we're going to be working on today. Okay. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to grab a pen and paper. You can do this on your computer, whatever you want to do. I promise this would be interactive. So I want you to make a list of words that describe you. This can be anything. I just put out some of these words. These were some of the first words that came to my mind. So I just want you to take a couple of seconds and start to think about some words that describe who you are. For me, like, you know, I'm pretty edgy and funny. I'm kind of a badass. I'm spiritual. I'm a very passionate and gritty person. These are the things that make me special. So I want you to really dig deep and just the spur of the moment, you know, 5 words, 10 words, 3 words, 2 words, whatever comes to your mind. And when you're done, give me a thumbs up. All right, got a thumbs up from Carol. All right, thank you, Laura. I can't see everyone. It only unfortunately shows me a couple of, there we go. We got a couple more. Leslie, awesome. Megan, we good. All right, Shauna's good. All right, looks like a lot of these are just names and pictures. All right, Connie, how are you doing? You're good? All right. So I think we're gonna roll on forward. And I want you to keep this list next to you. I want you to keep this, this near you, because we're gonna be using this the entire time that we're going through this presentation. We're gonna be updating it. We're gonna be digging deep into what these words mean and what they are, what makes you special, and therefore what makes your brand really special. Okay. So the reason we did this is, this is one of my very favorite quotes. To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. So what we're working on when we work on personal brand strategy and we work on these things that make yourself special is knowing yourself. And if you're like, well, I kind of have an idea, you know, I'm not too sure about like what I'm trying to do here. What we're trying to do, and this was a metaphor Connie and I were talking about earlier, is if you just keep like shooting out arrows like at anything, you've really got to have a path. Like you're not gonna hit a target if you're just shooting arrows at nothing. So we're really trying to hone in and define like what words describe you, and to have that heightened self-awareness so we can move forward and craft a really dynamic brand. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what is branding. So branding is a culture, is creating a strong culture, imagery, sounds, and or feelings that separates one thing from another. This becomes recognizable with that person or establishment. This is so important because like when we think about things like McDonald's, you know, you can think the golden arches, you're always thinking that's McDonald's. So what we want to do in your personal strategy, even if it's not for a corporation, it's not for something bigger, even if it's just for you, we want to start to think about the things that make us special and that are recognizable about us. And that goes beyond what we look like. It goes beyond what we're selling. It goes down to who we are, and what I'm going to keep referring to this, which is being a fully fleshed human. And that's what good connection is about, and that's what people want to know about us. So why brand yourself? I think I get this question a lot when I've worked with people, is like, Kailyn, I don't really see the point. I know I have a lot of knowledge about this product. I'm like, well, cool beans, but I really give no cares if you know a lot. I care about you. So branding yourself is important because it increases brand equity. So that's the value in which you put on you and your product, and it makes you more identifiable to the public. So we're working on things to make you more identifiable, which means that you have greater chances and greater exposure to increase the things that you're selling. So that's why we're working on branding and really crafting an image today. So these are the three things that I have defined that really make a good brand. So, you know, if you look at any brand that is successful, it does these three things. If it's personal or public or a giant corporation, the first thing that they do is they're relatable. They have product and content that is inspiring and aspiring. So, you know, I want to relate to it. I'm inspired by you because you're so relatable. You have such a good story. Therefore, I want to be like you. And this is that's the key. I want to keep emphasizing that today. You want people to feel these things, to have this ethos about you, to have that quality storytelling, to bring out that emotion in them. So they want to be like you, because that's what good storytellers and ultimately good salespeople, because you guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're here. I want you guys all to be Royal Crown Diamonds. Like, we're here to sell. So that's how you get people to turn over and become more than prospects, is they want to be like you. They want to see you. They can see themselves doing what you're doing. Okay, so we're going to talk about The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, not because he's gorgeous, because we all know he is. I see the chat lighting up. Everyone's like, I haven't looked at it, but yeah, I do love looking at him. But he's more than just his fine looks and glowing personality. The Rock is one of my favorite examples of the best branding possible, because when you look at The Rock, you just know who he is. So the first thing I want you guys to do is in the chat box up here, you can unmute yourself. Tell me a couple of words that describe Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Just a little discussion. What are the first words that come to your mind? Let's look over here. All right, let's see. What words describe Dwayne? Muscles, yeah, sure thing. He's funny and intense, driven. He's hot, yeah, word. He's dreamy with a winky face. Absolutely, he is all of these things. He is 110,000% all of these things. So here are some of the words that I came up with beyond being hot and dreamy, but let's be real, he is. So Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, that's his WWE name. He's athletic, he's health conscious, he's an actor, he's hyper masculine, he's super charismatic. The dude is such a hard worker, and he's also relentless, which is one thing I just love about him. He loves tequila and peanut butter, and I put, yes, this is important. We're gonna get to why. He's musical, he's humble, and he has gratitude practices. He's also a family man. So when you look at Dwayne The Rock Johnson as like a global person, these are all the words that are feeding into his brand and making him who he is. And I can guarantee you that the people that are strategizing on his brand are looking at all of these things on this list and going, this is why Dwayne The Rock Johnson is super special and he's super interesting. Like, this is what makes him him. So that's why these words are so important. So the thing that sets Dwayne Johnson above anyone else in this industry, which is why he has 90 million followers on Instagram, why he, is the top paid actor in Hollywood. He has something he always comes back to. So Dwayne Johnson is the king of consistent branding. And I'm going to drill that in tonight. Consistency, consistency, consistency. He has a mantra. And usually when you go to branding workshops or you talk to people about what good branding looks like, they ask you to do two things. They say, give me a vision statement, give me a mission statement. Like, that's cool. I get why they do that. But for me, if I can boil down what I'm about to a mantra, it's catchy, it's fun, it's witty, and it's something I can always go back to. So this is Dwayne Johnson's, the hardest worker in the room. He always says, I am the hardest worker in the room. I will outwork you. I will go to bed after you. I will wake up before you. I am here to live my dreams, and this is what I'm passionate about. What's amazing about him is he does this in every single interview he goes into. He talks about this. He talks about it on his Instagram. He talks about it in any spec, any news story, anything you see with Dwayne Johnson. His brand is being the hardest worker in the room. And that's what ultimately sets him apart from any other person in branding. So quality branding, and this is one thing that he is so good about. It's connecting your belief and passion for a product to the masses by sharing your greatest assets, which is your knowledge and yourself. And Dwayne Johnson is incredible at that. He's so knowledgeable at everything he does, yet he's so charismatic and lives so deeply in his bones that people want to be able to be connected to that product that he's ultimately selling. Because at the end of the day, like I said, we're salespeople, we're selling things. We want to move this volume. But the thing about his mantra is that it doesn't come out and be like, I am a person of belief, I'm a person of passion, but it gives that feeling from it. I am the hardest worker in the room. And it's such a deep belief. So when you're starting to think about how you connect to people, how you connect your brand to people, it's having that deep-rooted belief and passion in the product that you are selling, your knowledge and yourself, that is going to sell what you're doing and ultimately have a greater connection to whom you're talking to. So I want to boil down product to two things. A lot of people just think my product is oils. And that's great. Your product, given there's a lot more than just oils, and that's for you guys to decide how you want to take this business, because there are so many ways you can. But I want to say that your product is also you. And I think that's the biggest thing people miss in this industry is they're just churning out product knowledge after product knowledge after product knowledge, like seed to seal, it's this, it's that, it's ethical. And that's great. That's amazing. You need to be a master and an authority figure in whatever you're talking about. That's so important to anything you're selling. You got to know what the heck you're saying. But the part people miss in general, and this is from one-on-ones to sending out a newsletter, to sending out an email, to Instagram, to Facebook, is they miss the most important thing they have that they were born with, which is them. You are the product at the end of the day. And that's what good branding is all about. It's sharing the authentic things about yourself and being okay with doing that while you're talking about the product you're already using. And it's just so vitally important to good branding. And any celebrity, anyone you look at, I want, this is something to do tonight. Start going through the people that are big influencers in this industry and other industries. You're going to notice they talk a lot about who they are and then what they're selling. And that's a higher buy-in rate, and which is higher conversion rate, which means the people that are interacting with what you're wanting to sell. So this is the thing I want to drill home to. You have to make them care. Because if I don't care about you, if you're just some cute girl on the internet looking cute, posting a selfie now and again, reposting oils, like, I really don't care. Like, to me, that doesn't mean anything to me. But if you tell me a story about how this product changed your life, or if you tell me a story about how you've had the best day ever, or you share something that makes you a fully fleshed human, even if it isn't always pretty, or even if it isn't always like about the product you're selling, that makes me want to connect to you. That makes me want to, that makes me interested in who you are. And therefore it makes me want to buy your product. There's this, I was on Instagram a little bit ago, and this totally happened to me. There's this woman who, she's actually a Beachbody coach, and that whole, company doesn't really align with what I wanted, or their products do, because long story short, it isn't as organic in the things I wanted in it. But because she was so cute and so great at sharing her story of adversity, sharing who she was, why she was doing it, I was so passionate, and I found myself like on the website almost ordering this product. And I was like, whoa, Kailyn, like, you've been hoodwinked. She caught you in the crux of caring a lot. And that's what we want, guys. We want people, we want that to happen. We've got to make them care. So how do I make them care? And I know that that's the question that people always ask. Like, how do I make these people care that, don't seem to care? Which I know this was a discussion on the Entrepreneurlers today. So become a storyteller. Time and time again, any book you read, anything, any research that we look at, the essence of humanity, the essence of who we are is in connection and quality storytelling. And so being someone that's trying to connect a product to people, to better people's lives, you have to engage them in that ethos and pathos, and start to tell a story and share your story. So this is what I wrote out, and this connects to the 3 things that make a good brand. When people know you, they want to be like you. If you are doing interesting and engaging things, that means they want to buy your product. So I love Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson is relatable through his stories of struggle. So going back to Dwayne Johnson, one thing that he'll always talk about to be relatable is his dream was to be an NFL player. And he went through college. He didn't make the NFL. The dude just didn't do it. So then he went to go play for the Canadian League, the Cavaliers, and he got cut. He will always tell a story. He got cut. He had $7 to his name, and he had to go home to Nashville to his wife and figure out what he was going to do. And it's such a heart-wrenching story of adversity. But people connect to it because we've all been in a place of adversity, and it's so relatable. Lo and behold, what happens to Dwayne Johnson is he becomes the inspiration of a lifetime, because he gets into WWE, which was the family business, and then becomes this amazing star, which is what we all aspire to be. We all relate to adversity, but we're inspired by the people who move through adversity into something greater, and then they talk about it. So what I wrote here as well is the thing that's super cool about Dwayne Johnson is he also talks about, like, doing good by his family, doing good by his himself and his career. And so we aspire to be like him. He doesn't just sit there and talk about, I have a movie coming out, guys, or my Under Armour line just launched. Those are great things too, but he talks about the impact of all these things on him. And that's why we aspire to be like him. He's also the king of honesty and self-awareness, which is one thing I love about his brands. Like, he'll sit there and like, I know every Sunday is Dwayne Johnson's cheat day, and the dude's going to be eating sushi and having peanut butter cookies and drinking some tequila and talking about how he worked so hard that week. Because he's honest with us. He's self-aware, and he tells us where he's at. If it's a good day or a bad day, but most importantly at the end, how he's pushing through it and how the things that matter, like his film career or his family, move him through it. So he is like a quality storyteller. I highly recommend everyone going to look at his Instagram feed. So this is what I want you guys to sit down and think about right now. I want you to take just a couple of moments, and I want you to think about, what does your brand currently say? Is it mostly product knowledge and oils? Are you just copying what other people are doing? Do you even have a brand, do you think? So I want you to take a minute, and I don't want you just to scroll down, like, what do you think your brand is right now? And then give me a thumbs up when you're good. Got a thumbs up. Got another thumbs up from Carol. Awesome. So the next thing I want you to think about is, I want you to think about who and where is your current market. So the people that are currently you're selling to, either as people on your team or just users of the product. But I also want you to think where they are. Like, are they on Instagram? Are they one-on-one meetings? Are they in email? Who are these people? Who is your current market? Connie and I very recently had a discussion about this and how we wanted to kind of push her market out a little bit. So what's really interesting about branding is that when you want to change your market up a little bit and you want to move forward, you have to really start thinking about what other pieces of yourself you need to bring out to attract that other marketplace. So the next question is, who is your desired market? Who do you want to be selling to? Who are the people you want to work with? When I was running a business here in Chicago, my desired market, because I was, running basically a mom and pop hat shop, was all the people downtown. So I would only go and accept pop-up shops downtown where people had six-figure incomes, because it was smart for me. So I want you to think about who your desired market is. And give me a thumbs up when you've thought about that. Got a thumbs up.
Kailyn, can I make one comment?
Please, absolutely. As many as you want, Connie.
So I was just going to mention the very first question, what does your current brand say? I think many people are just starting to even consider a brand per se. And before branding became trendy, how we did it in the training that we had before, we'd always ask people, what do you stand for? And so they would consider, well, this is what I want to represent. And so that was how we said branding in the, a few years ago, where now it's much more intentional. So for some people on this call or on the recording that's going to be listening, think about it from before, what do you stand for? And now maybe it will help you to look, is your Facebook page or your Instagram saying that? And if not, it's okay to start now. That's what you're here to help us with. So I don't want anybody feeling going like, I don't even have a brand.
And
it's
that's
okay.
okay.
It's totally okay, because we want to start then being more intentional and get you a brand. So don't feel bad saying, trying to say, oh, I should have had one. No, it's okay. We're starting today.
Yeah, this is all a learning process. All right. So does everybody have the first 3 bullet points filled out? Some thumbs up, maybe? Word. Thanks, Megan. All right. So I think for the most part, we're looking pretty good at the people's faces I can see. So let's roll to this last question. Do your initial words you wrote about yourself define the brand that you have right now? So if you chose, you think you're, an edgy, energetic chef, I don't know, 3 words that really define you is what you're posting and what you're talking about and how you're trying to sell things. Do those words connect to your actions?
I find as we're sitting here, Kailyn, that my list, I'm getting more creative in my list. Because before,
great.
I kind of went, I don't know. And now I'm going, being more free spirited in just writing them down. And now it's getting fun.
Oh, yeah. Because I think what's so great about branding and what's so great about the world in general is you can be anything you want to be. Mm-hmm. And I want to drive that thought home with you guys too, is just because you may not know right now, or you may want to do something different, it's totally okay to do that. And that's what's fun with branding. So if your current market doesn't match your desired market, that's okay. Let's get creative. Let's get excited. And let's think about these things that you already have about yourself that can connect, if the girl can talk, to different people.
Yeah.
So let's see. How's everyone doing? Can I get some thumbs up or? Cool. Lots of thumbs up. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next slide so we can keep on rolling here. Okay. So this is one of my very, very, very favorite quality branding examples. And the thing that I love about her is she does so many good things in her brand. But one thing I want to point out is this woman's name is Nikki Lane. She is a musician and she owns a vintage shop in Nashville, Tennessee. And she is the master of using the things she loves to tell her story and sell her product. So use the things you like to share your products and tell your story. So she doesn't work in our industry, but she's so good at it that I thought she was the best example. So Nikki Lane is a national touring act musician, and each show she goes to, she's wearing clothes from her vintage store. And she goes on stage and she talks about whatever state she's in. She's like, well, I just picked 100 pounds of vintage. Same thing at High Class Hillbilly, which is her vintage store. What she does is she, on her Instagram, if she's throwing up new pics she found, if she's throwing up new cool jewelry she found, she is so brilliant because she throws one of her own songs over the top of it. One thing I want to point out too, just a couple of sidebars that she does, which is kind of off the point, but also super smart, is she released a record called The Highway Queen. And now everything she does has that in it, which is that consistency and branding. So her guitar has Highway Queen inlaid in it. Her vanity plate has Highway Queen. If she's going on doing a big high class hillbilly thing, she throws the song Highway Queen on it. If you also see her 2 logos at the bottom here, they're also really clean, really good logos. Not that that's what we're working on today, but if you do decide to go that route, I recommend starting to look at her stuff, because they're crisp, they're easy, and they're identifiable. So to move this into Young Living and how we're going through this is, you're more than your Young Living products. These products deepen the things you're already doing. And so for someone like Nikki Lane is more than her vintage store. She's a musician who happens to love wearing vintage and love selling it. So I want you guys to start thinking about those words you wrote and really thinking about who you are and how these products deepen your practice, because that is ultimately at the end of the day what defines your brand. So like, are you a yogi? Are you health conscious? Are you a chef and you're putting oregano oil and lemon into the things you're doing? I am waiting for the next great Young Living amateur bartender to shine their light and teach me how to do Young Living bartender tricks. Like, that's all part of your brand, you know, like, are you an athlete? Like, are you using these oils to deepen your practice there? Are you an artist? Are you a gardener? Are you a dreamer? So you're putting these oils on to help yourself open your new consciousness. Are you a traveler? Are you a doctor? You know, are these things helping you in that way? So a huge part of your brand is not what you're selling, but how you're doing it.
Kailyn, I'd like to say, going back to your example of The Rock,
yes,
he is a family man. He is health conscious. He is a musician. He is these things, and through those things, he is inspiring. So, because sometimes we choose words that we want to be, but we're not those words. So then it isn't as authentic as we want it to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So we have to own who we are and what we're doing, and then share that. People want to know exactly who we are. We don't need to go out being a bunch of things we're not. We just need to be authentic in what we're doing and show why we're doing it. So what I'm getting at is the coin term of umbrella, or I'm sorry, gosh, the coin term, the umbrella term of lifestyle branding. And this is a really big point in quality branding. So how does your lifestyle support the products you use? How do people connect to them? And can other people see these products fitting into their lifestyle after seeing how these products fit into yours? So let's say you're a yogi or you love meditation and you use these oils. You talk about, wow, I needed a really quality meditation today, so I diffused some joy oil because my heart was feeling a little bit heavy. Someone else can connect to that and be like, I like meditation. I need some joy in my life. And then you have a higher rate of people most likely going to interact with you and your product after they see how it fits in your lifestyle. So that's why we want to go back to storytelling. We want to go back to being relatable, because when we're relatable, then we become inspirational, and then we become aspirational. Let's go back to those 3 words that we're doing. And we all do it through being authentic and through lifestyle branding. So right now I want to talk just very briefly about the current trends and the things that describe a lot of the top performers in Young Living. When I took on this challenge with Connie, I did a lot of research into who was successful and what words the brand, just what a lot of people were already doing. So a lot of the words, a lot of the people were very wholesome, family oriented, momtrepreneurs, clean lines, very quality images. So you can see, I just took a snapshot from one woman's Instagram over here who does it insanely well. She's a cute young mom. She has great kids. I'm kind of blown away by her Instagram because the woman uses a Pantone color palette so everything is consistent. Like the woman's got it on lock. But the thing I want to challenge everyone on this call today is, I think when it's so easy to start, look at the top performers, look at all the things these people are doing and exactly copy it. But I want you guys to get creative. I want you to get inspired, and I want you to live your truth and bring that out in your brand. So like for me, I'm not very wholesome. I like my family, but I'm single and I live in Chicago. I'm not a mom. Like these things that usually define like people who sell these products, like if that doesn't define you, girlfriend, like live your dreams, live your truth. Like let's figure out what does. Let's bring that out of you and let's show everyone, because I'll tell you what, there's going to be 50 other people, 500 people, 50,000 people that connect to you. So with that being said, I want you guys right now to think about your desired brand versus your current brand. So we're going to go back to that thing we were talking about. So what do you want your desired brand to be? What pieces of yourself do you want to bring out? You know, Kailyn and I were talking today a little bit when we were talking about the words that were describing her brand and the things that she was doing. And I even called her out at one point. I said, well, Connie, you're talking so passionately about this. Like, do you talk about this? She's like, no. And I'm like, that's your desired brand.
I was very excited and I was very inspired after you did this class for me today. And I really am super pumped about it. And I realized what I was putting out there wasn't consistent with what the message I want to bring. And so I'm super pumped to get this started. So, yeah. So I have my words. I have my mantra started. I've got this all going on, Kailyn. Thank you.
Yay. So does everyone have some idea of what they want their desired brand to look like? Thumbs up, maybe. I see some beautiful smiles. Oh, now I see some thumbs up as I scroll on down. Lovely, lovely looking group. Okay, so we're gonna keep on rolling. So I want to talk about my brand, because let's be real, guys. I am not your typical young living person that is in the top performers. So these are the words I wrote out for myself. I'm a musician. That's something that is super important to me. Like if you guys look at, you can probably see a keyboard. I have 6 guitars back here and I have some harmonicas right here. Like this is who I am. I'm single. I'm 25. I'm a yogi. I'm health conscious. I have an insanely hard work ethic. I'm highly crafted and curated in my style. If you guys have even looked at any of my social media. I wear a lot of vintage 60s and 70s inspired. I'm a writer. And my current brand for my music, I have a sex appeal because I have to. That's part of what my music branding is. I'm a witty person. I'm edgy. But the thing about my brand that's going to be so different than everybody else's is like, you guys, don't get me wrong. I love to get up and go to my 6 a.m. yoga class, and I'm going to talk about that. But my desired market are the people that are staying out with me at 2 a.m. at the rock and roll show, and we're chugging Ninga like there's no tomorrow because we don't want a hangover the next day. Like that's my brand. And that's going to be totally different than most people on this call. But that's okay, because our desired markets are going to be so different. So the people I'm targeting, the things I'm saying, the things I'm showing are going to be so different than what everyone else is doing. Like, you guys, I'm probably going to put some oils next to my guitar or next to my leopard print boots and be like, look what the girls bring into the rock and roll show. Like, but that's who I am, and that's me living in my truth. And so I want you guys to think about, these are the things that make me special. These are the things that make me unique. They don't have to align with what everyone else is doing. But what are those things for you, and how are you going to do it? So the thing that I created for my mantra was, I'm not here to please, I'm here to do what I please, which was something that was very important to me. It's very important in my music and going forward in my business, because it talks to my soul, it talks to my passion, it talks to my relentlessness in getting the job done. And I'll tell you what, on my social media, I'm going to be blasting that. People are going to have an earful about that. and it's catchy and it's cool. And it also shows just what I want for the future. And it's also relatable. The thing about my mantra is that people relate to that because people want to throw caution to the wind. They want to live in their dreams. They want to live in their passion. They want to live in their truth, but they're scared to do it. So that's inspirational that I want to do that. And then people are going to want to be like that because they're like, Kailyn's talking this way. Kailyn's doing this thing. I'm going to go do this thing. And so I want you to think about those words that are beyond the oils, beyond sharing that product knowledge, the things that you can say time and time again to show what you stand for and be authentic. And that's mine.
That's awesome.
So I kind of condensed some of the things we talked about today and on this page just to go over again. So I want you to be original and be unapologetically authentic. That's what a good brand does. There's no sense in trying to be somebody else. What I wrote here, people have a pretty good BS meter. Like you guys, I can see right through people when they're trying to be somebody else or doing exactly what everyone else is doing. I want you to have a consistent brand once it's defined. Once you figure out who you are, what you stand for, I want you to commit to it and try it. You can change it. That's okay. That's growing and learning. But once you figure out what those words are, you have to be consistent in sharing that message. You need to be making your own images. I think a lot of people, it's so easy to share other people's or share what Young Living's doing, which is great. But that's just being a participator in what's already happening. What we're trying to get through solid branding is to make you the influencer. So people share your images. So people share what you're doing, and then they want to be like you. Going back to those three things. So don't be sharing something with someone else's brand image on it. That's a bonehead move. Make your own. It's fun. It's creative. If you're not good at it, talk to someone else in your downline because it's fun. Only time is when you're collaborating or cross-promoting, The only time I'm going to be sharing someone else's work is if someone took a photo of me at a rock and roll show and I give them credit for it. Like, I don't share what other people are doing. I want every post you do to showcase your core values. So if you're blowing up my feed with a million freaking quizzes, I have a cousin that does that. It drives me nuts. Quizzes and bit strips and things like that. That doesn't connect to me. It doesn't do any good. I'd rather you show some conviction and share something that, makes your heart explode. Share a good story. I want to see your values on your page. I want to see how these products help you, which goes into lifestyle branding to help with connection. Going back to sharing how this product improved your life or how something has changed or you made a good recipe or you did something interesting. At the end of the day, I want you all to come out of your brand being the greatest of storytellers. We're here to tell a story. That's what this is all about. Yes, you're selling a product, but at the end of the day, you're selling a lifestyle. You're selling a story. You're selling something that's going to better them. So I want to hear about it. And that's what good branding is sharing that message in a concise way. So with all of that being said, I have some homework for you guys. I want you to pick the top 3 words that describe you and you want your desired brand to be. It can be more than 3, but I think 3 is an easygoing number. When we're starting out, we're like, what does this mean? I want you to make a post in the next few days showcasing your brand, and I want you to make sure you're telling a story. And I want you to have a team discussion or a discussion with a friend to see if the post you shared actually encapsulates those words. For me, that's my BS meter, where I'm like, hey, did I do the thing? I have a team to do that with. I have a bunch of friends who are really good at that. And I want you to share this link with your team. I'm also going to be posting something on Entrepreneurlers tonight that is just for you guys to throw up your 3 words. If you get ever so bold and you want to throw up a link to your post, I'm more than happy to look at it. I'd be so anxious to see if it meets those 3 words. And I just want you to start having this discussion. At the end of the day, this is a process. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and be like, I'm branded. Like we're working through a process here, which is why we have so many workshops planned ahead. So this is the beginning of that process. So with all of that, unless Connie has anything, I want to know if you have questions for me and Connie. I want to kind of get a temperature check and see where everyone is, see if this is digestible.
So I just want to go back to the homework, Kailyn.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Every one of you who's on this call, or if those of you that are listening to the recording, take this link and now take it to 2 or 3 of your team members and then work through this branding together. Think about how much stronger your team's going to be. Think about what that's going to do in the next 8 to 12 weeks with your team. And when people get more intentional and they really know what they stand for, that's going to bring out so much. So I would take this and teach it to your teams right away. That's the best way for you to do it. And as you can see, I'm going to be learning with you. So I'm throwing this out there for you guys to give me feedback as well. So let's do this together. Thank you, Kailyn. This was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so now open up to questions for Kailyn. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I can pull up the chat, or I don't have to make this. Can I unshare this?
Yes.
Can I just go back to videos?
You can unshare up at the top. So anyway, I'm going to close this recording, but those of you that are listening to the recording, you can ask questions on that post that we're going to do in the Entrepreneurlers.